pretty good group that's on here now. Awesome. Yep. Well, good morning. Good morning. So we're going to go ahead and get kicked off here this morning, but I know that Jeremiah and Chris have been slacking on the kickoff music, here on the call. So I want to keep the tradition going and keep a little of excitement and vibe going to get you going here and for the day and kick started, right? So those of you that are just jumping on the meeting, then you'll have to go back and watch it because you missed it. So there we go. I see some other folks jumping on now. Gotcha. I'm just looking through here. Yeah, I saw a few folks that were just jumping on. So anyway, good morning. So we're going to go ahead and get kicked off here for the Menifee Better Nolan Agency team call for today on April 3rd. First and foremost, I hope you all are doing well. You're safe and secure with your families. Where you live, we have people on the call from all over the country. But definitely first and foremost, your safety and your family is paramount. So, but we want to get kicked off here and kind of go through some of the numbers and such for last week or last month. I know Chris is still working on pulling the leaderboard numbers for last week. Opt has been extremely slow this morning. I think everyone is trying to pull reports in Opt, but also just the internet in general. Most of us are experiencing some latency issues just because everyone's on the internet, right? So he's still trying to pull those numbers for last week, at which point we'll kind of come back and cover those later during the call and still get those if possible. If not, then once we do get those, we will post those up on the GroupMe for folks to get an idea of kind of what numbers were like for this last week. So give me 1 second here. I'm on a video call. I apologize. My son was trying to ask me something and we didn't realize I was on a video call. My apologies to you. He thought I was in here jamming music and just playing around. So they're all off of work and such like that. So the monthly leaderboards for last month, here we go. So for our team specifically, we've got for a top APV, starting with number 10, we've got Miss Julia Pappas, Director Chris Menifee, for $2,396. And then Miss Donna Bates, Director Spencer Cushion, had $4,614. Mr. Lionel Anderson, Director myself, $6,574. And then we've got at number 7, Miss Mickey Kerr is Director Jeremiah with $7,832. Then Terry Myers, Director Miss Stella Dinwiddie, is $9,968. And then Mr. Spencer Cushion, Director Mr. Chris Menifee, is $11,128. Mr. James McKeon, Director myself, part-time guy, $13,383. Number 3, Miss Stella Dinwiddie herself, Director Mr. Chris Menifee with $20,246 this last month. And number 2, myself with $20,787, Director Mr. Chris Menifee. And then number 1 for the month last month, Mr. Jeremiah Nolan, Director Chris Menifee, $25,298. It's a great job there, everyone on the leaderboards. For top builders for last month, on the recruiting side, from a team builder perspective, the top 2, Mr. Jeremiah Nolan with 10 licensed or 10 completed packets back, I should say, for the month of March, and myself with 17. Then top app count for last month, we had number 10, Miss Julia Pappas with 2 apps, Miss Mickey Kerr with 4, Donna Bates with 9, Mr. Lionel Anderson with 9, Blair Cushion with 10, Miss Terry Myers with 11. Then you got Miss Stella Dinwiddie with 14, myself with 19, Mr. Jeremiah Nolan with 20, and coming in at number 1 on the app count, Mr. Part-Time himself, James McKeon, with 27 applications for this last month. So great job, everybody there on the leaderboards for the month. And again, we'll try to get the weekly leaderboards for the first week of April kicked off here as soon as Opt cooperates. Okay, so let me click back over here real quick, and then what I did want to talk about today, and again, I know we allot an hour for these team calls and such, and we've all been on a lot of calls as of lately with different teams and organizations and such like that. So we certainly want to be respectful and mindful of folks' times and be able to get out and be productive. So the topic that I want to talk about today is extremely important, and I think really the foundation of everything that we all do. But I don't know that it's going to take the entire hour, and that's fine. We'll cover what we need to cover, and then be able to get out and attack the day. But specifically, what I wanted to talk about was this mindset, right? In the face of change, it all starts and stops with our own mindset. And you know, the point is how we view things and how we what our perspectives are on things ultimately determines our success, right? And in life and anything that we do, you know, the sky's not the limit. Your mindset is. You know, we're all dealing with the same situations and scenarios and challenges right now with the coronavirus in our communities and limitations of you know, being some folks are on lockdowns and such like that. We're all dealing with those same adversities, right? But some people are rising to the occasion and doing extremely well in light of that, you know, considering it. And other folks are still struggling some. Now, I know some of that has to do with learning curve, and some people are newer than others, you know, but some folks, you know, are reluctant to kind of adopt change, right? And ultimately, the price of progress is the pain of change. So making sure we have the proper perspective on the way we view things in life that we deal with ultimately determines our success. You know, so I want to kind of talk about a few things that go into our mindset, you know, and what that looks like from a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset, and how we can reprogram ourselves, you know, to be positive and look at things in the right light so that we can be able to be successful regardless of circumstance or situation, right? So really training your brain and rewiring yourself. Some people are wired with a growth mindset inherently, and other folks need to change to a growth mindset because they have a fixed mindset. And the beautiful thing is that you can change. You can reprogram yourself and you can rewire. It has to do with what you read, what you see, what you tell yourself, and what you believe every single day. And that ultimately changes the way you believe in your thought process, and what you see as being a possibility, right? So, you know, back in the early days, you know, when I was in high school back in the 60s, no, I'm joking, you know, but when I was in high school in the 80s, I took like a data processing class, right? And one of the things we learned, if you guys ever had a computer class in programming, right? It was GIGO, right? GIGO, garbage in, garbage out, right? So if you don't get the programming right when you write the code, you're not going to get the right results. And so it's much the same thing for your brain, you know, making sure you're putting the right thing in place, and the perspectives that you're feeding yourself as far as what you're programming in your mind. So that has to do with self-development. That has to do with positive encouragement, affirmations, reading books on the subject, and also watching videos and those kinds of things, or listening to audibles that can help you with your proper mindset. Because one thing you have to keep in mind is the man who thinks he can and the man who thinks he can't, they're both right. Think about that. Now, the ancient Chinese proverb says man, but of course that applies to ladies as well, people. If the person who thinks that they can and the person who thinks they can't, they're both absolutely right. Believe that. Absolutely. And yep, Jeremiah just put another, your mind believes what you tell it, you know, and the reason why, you know, most people in life, not just in this business, But people in life and anything that they endeavor to do, most people will never become who they say they want to be or achieve the goals that they say they want to accomplish. It's because they're too attached to who they've been. They're not willing to change. They're not willing to go outside of their comfort zone. You can't improve your situation and your circumstance until you improve yourself. So that positive reinforcement is where it all starts, so that you can believe that something that can be done in the first place. But it's not just enough to think that it can be done. That's certainly the foundation of where it starts. So starting with the mindset of what's possible in an optimistic perspective is mission critical and is the common denominator. But it goes beyond that. I mean, you need to define what success means to you, right? A couple of months ago, I did a call with this group on goals and goal setting. Think about how many of you have actually done that. How many of you did it? How many of you can look right up past your computer on your wall and see the goals that you wrote down for yourself for the year of 2020 or last month or this month for that matter? You know what I mean? So the key is making sure that you have those goals clearly defined and what you want to accomplish in the timeline that you want to achieve it, a timeline within which you want to achieve that goal, right? But then you have to be intentional and be committed to what those goals are. And it doesn't matter if we're in a situation where we're at home and we have to pivot and use Zoom meetings and stuff like that. There's two ways to look at that. Some people may look at it as change and they're uncomfortable and they don't really know how to do it, and it's not something that they're really knowledgeable about, so they're fearful. Attack that head on. Practice. Get with your mentor. Figure out how to bust through that, because you can do one of two things. You can adapt and overcome, or you can let it cripple you. In anything that we do, right? Some of us see the situation now with us being able to tear down all the fences and all the borders and be able to sell virtually anywhere. Seeing that is taking this business to the nth degree. That's exactly how I see this, because I'm no longer worried about people having leads within an hour or two drive of their house in Atlanta or Los Angeles or Houston. You can pick it anywhere in the state and set up virtual appointments. Places where they're used to not, where you may live, the GMRs may be full. There may be, it may be tight to get A leads right in your county. But expand the counties out around that in your GMRs, and you can still set appointments with those just the same, because the virtual Zoom meeting is going to be the same whether they're in your city or on the other side of the state, or in another state for that matter. We've had a lot of people adapting and getting non-resident licenses in other states so they can be able to expand the opportunities that they have to be able to sell in other areas outside of where they are living. And a couple of months ago, 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, that wasn't even really part of our business model and something in the thought process of people at Symmetry. And look how much we've accomplished and the level of success that people have had with Symmetry with the way we were doing it. Now you expand that to the nth degree. I don't understand how anybody can't see that as a positive. Maybe that's just how I'm wired, but that just blows the lid off this entire thing. There's absolutely no excuses now. Okay, they don't have leads where you live in North Carolina. Get your non-resident license in Missouri or whatever it is. Not trying to lean on Chris's territory there. But the point is, get your non-resident license in Missouri and then set up a GMR in Jefferson City. Maybe there's not enough agents there. Look and see where there's an abundance of A leads. It doesn't matter. But see, that's how I look at this opportunity. I've talked to some other people, both in Symmetry and other places, and some people are a little unsure and they're nervous, and it's natural for people to have a sense of fear of uncertainty, right? But you can change the way you see that and way you react to those things. It's really an optimist versus a pessimistic, an optimistic versus a pessimistic outlook on anything that you deal with, right? So I certainly see that as an opportunity for our company and our organizations to grow exponentially. But you have to be intentional and committed to what you're wanting to accomplish. And you can't let anything get in your way. There's no excuses. You're responsible for your actions, which is another point I'm going to make here in just a moment, is take responsibility for everything that you do. It is your responsibility. We can teach and mentor you in every aspect of this business. Jeremiah, myself, or Chris, the 3 agency owners in this organization on this call, we are never going to ask you to do anything or tell you what to do or give you advice or point you in the right direction or mentor you in anything that we have not done ourselves and we are not currently doing. You see it in the leaderboards, you see it on the group me. We're doing exactly what we're asking you to do or telling you that you need to do in order to be successful with this business. But the one thing we can't do is we can't come do it for you. That's where your fight and your why has to be stronger than your quit. So it's all about how you look at things, right? But you've got to be positive, with your attitude and your thinking. Look at everything as an opportunity and then find ways to leverage that situation and circumstance to your benefit. Because some of the most successful people in the world in history, have all dealt with adversities and challenges and setbacks and failures. It's not about how many times you fail. It's about how many times you got back up and kept fighting. There are no failures. There are lessons and learnings to apply to your next opportunity. So it's about, again, how you see things. But you've got to transfer your thoughts into actions, and I think that because the root and the foundation of what we do is on the phones, and some people have a natural aversion to that and setting appointments and such like that. That's really the key to success here. When you're calling the older leads and such like that, even now with the corona scenario, I mean, there are going to be people that want to wait. They're not sure about what's going to happen with their job, all those kinds of things. Yes, we get it. But there are a whole nother subset of people who see this as from a customer perspective, that they need this and want more coverage. And those are the people you're trying to reach. It doesn't matter how many people say no. You've heard me say that before. I don't give a damn about how many people curse me out and hung up on me on the phone, don't answer their phone. If you think you got it bad and people are hanging up on you, trust me, those of us who have higher levels of production numbers, we go through the same things. You just don't see it because we don't care. Those things are part of the equation that we have to go through to get to the result. It happens to us too. They dodge us. They block our number. I got to change my burner number on my cell phone and call them from a different number just to get them to answer, right? We know that. It happens to everybody. But we find success regardless, because those are not the people that I was meant to call. Maybe the timing's not right. I'll circle back in with them when this is over. There are plenty of other people out there that need our help. You can see it in the numbers. Again, last week, I think was reported on the national call, our numbers were up 20% year over year from last year. And most of those 90% of what's being done is via telesales and Zoom meetings. So the proof is in the pudding in this, and that it's being done, right? And it's not just me. It's not just Jeremiah or Chris or anybody specifically on this call. It's everyone. There are people on the call, you heard the numbers, that blow our numbers out of the water. LaTanya James isn't even in our organization. She did everything telesales, and she wrote $22-some thousand last week, all via Zoom meetings and telesales, right? And she's relatively new. I don't think she's been here maybe 6 months. She's a relatively new person. I've never met her. I just see her name on there, and I've heard some things about her. She's doing very well. So the point is, if it's being done, then you can do it as well. Your level of success doesn't have to be predicated or defined by someone else's, but only by yours. But you've got to translate your goals and your desires and your ambitions into action every single day. And sure, some days, is it boring? Is it mundane? Is it repetitive? Yep. But that's why the people in this company, once you get to certain levels of success within this organization, they've done everything we've been doing, but been doing it for 6, 7, 8 years, and teaching their people how to be successful regardless of challenges or adversities, nonetheless, right? So the key is following those things and making sure you've got the proper mindset on a daily basis about what you're doing. And something that I've said, many times before, but it bears repeating. most people in this business or in anything, they just want to be in the result. They don't want to be in the process, but they want the result. But in this business, more than anything you've ever done, it's in the process that determines who deserves to be in the result. Keep that in mind. So you've got to be focused and intentional about what you're doing. But really, that's the growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. And sometimes people have a tendency to have a victim mentality, right? They'll get on the phones and I'll have some people tell them no, or they'll have some, buddy fuss at them on the phone, and all of a sudden they take it personally, and then you kind of go into a shell and have a victim mentality. And you just can't do that. You've got to know those people don't know you personally. You don't know what's going on in their world. You don't know what their frustrations are. They could have just been laid off and fired from their job or something like that. There are different things that could have happened, in their life, or maybe an argument with their spouse right before you called. They wouldn't know you if they saw you at the grocery store this evening. It's just not the right time for them, or maybe they're not hearing what you're saying, and why you're calling, right? So the point is, stay focused on what you're doing and know that you're here to help people, because in that stack of leads that you have, there are people that the phone call you're going to make to them is literally going to be the difference between financial success or failure for that family from a generational perspective. It's that important. And this situation we're dealing with right now is not because of some just unforeseen economic downturn, right? This is something because of a virus that people are dying from. And sometimes people will think, well, I lost my job, so I don't know if I can afford X amount of, money per month because I don't want to take on any more bills. But listen, if you think things are tough right now because you're out of work for a few weeks or a month, imagine you being gone and your income being missing forever because you passed away. And how is your family going to be able to handle that? And you've got to approach that in the right way so people understand you're coming from a good place in your heart, and that you're genuinely trying to help these people. But even if it's something where someone would otherwise have gotten $120 or $100 a month policy or something like that under normal circumstances, just find something that they can afford. The lady that I met with last night, you saw in the group meet, with everything that's going on and with her husband, she would have normally probably got, between her and her husband, gotten 2 policies for probably about $150, $160 a month between the two of them. We just did one on her because she was the one that was underinsured. It was $60. She said $60 is all I can swing right now. Perfect. Let's get that done for you. So you've got to find what's a good fit for people. She also knows, and I said to her, when everything blows over and gets back to normal, which it will, you've got my number, call me back and we'll add an additional policy for the difference for you, and we'll get your husband covered as well. So not only did I take care of her now, but I set something up for pipeline in the future, right? And it's about building that pipeline too. So, sometimes people, obviously we all want instant gratification. We've got bills to pay now, and people want to make money now, understandably. But at the same time, you can't be dismissive as it relates to people that may genuinely be interested, but want you to follow up with them in a month or two when they figure out what's going on. I know we want to try to get them some coverage now, but I've got a January through December file that I have, and I'm going to grab it so I can show you what I'm talking about. And I've used the same kind of thing for 30 years in business. It's a January through December file, and it lists everything in here, January through December. And if I'm talking to somebody and they're saying, hey, call me back in May, then I'm establishing a rapport, and I'm taking that lead and putting that into the May file. So I'm going to need sales in May, just like we need today, right? Sometimes the timing isn't right, but you've got to build a pipeline in any business that you do in sales, right? So also from that comes referrals and other people that you know. And if you're brand new, you don't necessarily have that pipeline yet, or the referral network from a client perspective, but you've got to build that. So don't overlook, still building for future opportunities while you're trying to find your today opportunities and help folks. One other thing that there's 2 other sayings that have always meant a lot to me, and one is success is playing the cards that you were dealt as if it was the hand you always wanted. Some people are very good at doing that, and others aren't. Others have that victim mentality, where you know, they want it to be perfect. We all do, right? But it's never going to be perfect. Everybody on this call has a story. Everybody has a situation. Everybody has things that have happened in their lives that they've gotten through, and you made it. You're still here. But think about those adversities in our lives. Everything we've gone through has continued to build strength within you and your character. You know, those folks who've gone through the most adversity in their lives and have overcome are the strongest, both mentally and spiritually, in anything that comes at them again, because they've been through it, right? So, some people are destroyed by the fire. Some of us are built from it.
Hey, John Paul.
Yes.
I love this thought process today. I seen a quote just literally this morning that applies so much. It says, experts have failed more than amateurs have tried.
I love it.
That's how at every level of Symmetry, where there's agency owners, kind of the starting block we're on, and then on up to Chris and Scott and Jacob and Marshall. It's just they have failed that much more, you know, to be able to get there. So to love that. Anyway, I literally, that came across my Twitter this morning, and I meant to save it and post it, but it triggered my
no, that's actually a great one. I've seen that one before as well, and that's an awesome one, and it's absolutely correct. You know, you learn from your mistakes and failures, right? You know, and that's what, you know, we mean by massive action, constant correction. You know, and massive action means number two. Right now, if you're new and starting in this business, massive action is just numbers of dials. If you dialed 100 times, okay, great. Go dial 200, 300, whatever. You've heard stories of people on national calls and at conferences where folks were determined to be successful and just challenged, and they locked themselves in a room and all weekend made 1,000 calls, dials. That doesn't mean 1,000 people, right? We'll cover that in just a second, but made 1,000 dials and went from not having any money because they knew they had to make money within the next week or two for their family, and nothing else was going to keep them from achieving those numbers of dials and calls. Nothing. Not even yourself. And they found success regardless. So when we talk about dials, you know, that's not 1,000 people. So if I've got a lead sheet, and this is really for the new people too, because I know we have a lot of them on the call. Most of them are mine, by the way, Jeremiah and Chris. So, but the lead sheets that have numbers on there, if there's a home number and a cell phone number, right? And I call each of those numbers in the morning, and then in the afternoon, I try to call them both, and again in the evening, I try to call them both again. That's 6 dials, because 2, 2, and then 2, right? So it's about the number of dials, because it's also, some people may not be available in the morning or in the evening or vice versa. You don't know when is a good time to catch people, right? Also, for the newer people, leveraging, you know, double and triple dialing folks. Again, just to kind of talk about that strategy, because there's so many new people on the call. And I know we're going to be getting on the phones here pretty quick, but calling the same number 2 or 3 times in a row, right? And so what I mean by that is sometimes people won't pick up the phone if they don't recognize the number, right? So I'll call the number and ring, 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 ring to voicemail. And I hang up. I'll call right back and ring, 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 ring to voicemail. And I'll call back again and ring, ring. Hello? They may be angry or upset. It's, oh, hey, Jim, hey, this is John Paul Better. I'm actually the field underwriter for the mortgage coverage for your house there at 123 Main Street in Atlanta. Hey, I just tried to call a couple of times, but on my end, it didn't connect. I'm not sure if there's something wrong with my phone, or did it actually ring on your end? Yeah, it rang. Oh, my apologies. I couldn't tell. And, you know, so then go right into your script. You got them to pick up the phone. Every one of us have made a phone call and it not connect because the system, the towers, whatever. So everybody on the other end of the phone can relate that it might not have connected. So, but the point is you got them to pick up, right? And telemarketers, when a robo dial doesn't call somebody's number 3 times in a row, it dials one and keeps going to the next and next and next, right? So they may think it's somebody that knows them or it's an emergency. And that's the whole point of getting them to pick up. But if I did that, that would be 3 dials, right? So when you start thinking about the number of dials, you know, I think sometimes when new people come on, they hear 300 or 400 dials and they think, oh my God, I got to call 400 people. No, it's 400 dials. you know, because that total activity, maybe it's 500, maybe it's 600. It's whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. Right now, you're not driving to appointments. You're not out doing other things. You have nothing but space and opportunity in your home office to put this thing to work for you. Make sure you're on the phones calling these people. And if you have a batch of leads that you've worked and you feel like you've done everything you can, go buy some more leads. I know some people, it might be a little counterintuitive and they think, well, I can find a way. I mean, I know people in this business who have used a credit card or called their credit card company and got an increase on the limit for their card if they needed to. Pawn something, an old iPad or something that they didn't need, or an old guitar or something, whatever, to kickstart your business and get you going, because you can turn those leads into sales and opportunities to make you more money. You can go get your guitar back if you have to. And I'm not saying that there's anybody on this call in any particular situation. I just want folks that may be in that situation to realize that it's an all hands on deck approach, and whatever it takes for you to find success. Those adversities and that story and those challenges you're going to go through is just going to make you more, it's going to make you stronger in your story to share with other people in the future about how you overcame in spite of, right? One of the things, and I'm going to share it here in a little bit, again on the GroupMe, because I've shared it before and I know I've gotten a lot of a positive response. It's one of my favorites. You know, in fact, I've got it right here. I'm gonna hold it up to the camera and I'm gonna read it off to you. This is I'm moving it in my office to a different spot, but it says, one day you'll tell your story of how you've overcome what you're going through right now, and it'll become part of someone else's survival guide. It's one of my favorites as well. I'm gonna post that on the GroupMe for folks, because there's somebody on this call that's going through that, and you're in a bad spot, and you're trying to figure out, hey, how do I get out of the situation? How can I help my family? How can I find success in spite of everything that's going on around me? The first thing you need to do is block out all of those distractions, and that's where you have to become laser focused on what you need to do, and don't let anything stand in your way, not even yourself. Chris, did you want to add anything else to that? Jeremiah?
Yeah, I posted there, guys. Remember that the CI2 leads, call in 2 leads, have been discounted from $7 to $2 starting today. I believe that's through Sunday. I got up first thing. As soon as I woke up, I immediately went to my computer and I got on there and ordered 100 of them in Alabama. Those are call-in leads that they didn't record their contact number, but we have their caller ID. You're going to get a little bit more objection, but they're $2, and they're fairly new leads. Right. And the first one I pulled up and looked, it's got this contact number in there. So, you know, look, the Symmetry is producing and distributing thousands of leads a week. So I imagine there's going to be some sit through and they get labeled or whatever. But those are really good leads, especially for $2. So I would get on there, be looking in your state, or if you've got non-resident license, there's plenty of call-in 2 leads out there. And for $2, it's a great, it's a steal. So I got 100 of them this weekend, because I told you guys, you heard me say on the call, my goal is no longer 5,000 to 6,000 a week. It's 10,000 a week. I'm not there yet this week. I've got 3 more appointments on the books today. And there's no reason not to. So you have to have the resources. You know, there's tons of 5A leads, maybe not in your area, maybe not even in your state, but there's tons of 5A, 4A leads out there. If you don't know what the lead types is, go to the support tab, leads on Symmetry's website, and it breaks down to a T what they are. But yeah, they're in your agent handbook as well. Yeah, you better jump on Opt, and if you want CI2s, you better be getting them quick. It's probably why Opt is slow today, is everybody's getting in and getting their leads, especially those discounted. So I tried to get on there at midnight last night, and it had a system update, and you couldn't do it, but I got on first thing this morning. So awesome, that's good stuff. Hey, last point, and it coincides with that point. I'm trying to win this dang contest here for these people. So I posted in there, there's 29 participants. We've only got 17 that have voted. Today is the last day. If you don't get your vote in, then you're losing the opportunity to potentially win some lead credit. It's $1,000 lead credit divided by the each one, whoever wins, their votees that pick them, is divided equally. If you don't get your vote in, I'm sorry. So I posted it multiple times. I'll post it to GroupMe one more time, and it's in there in the chat function now. Grab that link, pick your horse, so that you at least have an opportunity to win some lead credit. So get her done.
Yeah, man. Vote for Pedro.
Can I say something, John Paul?
Yes.
Yeah, if you all don't vote, that's okay, because that means the pie is bigger for me and my team when we win.
That's not going to happen.
Seriously, what I wanted to share, because you made me think of it, is, you guys know, because you've been here from when I first started last April.
Right.
I sucked really bad, and I didn't write anything out in the field, and I was calling Chris after every visit, and he was so great about, coaching me. And then I started writing, and then, I started writing more and more. And I don't recommend this, for anybody, but, it's funny when you talk about pawn things. For me, I worked my bank account because I didn't have enough money, for leads. And so, I had these overdrafts, and then I'd make it up. And then until I got this momentum going, I don't recommend that for anybody, but that's just what I did. And then Chris said, you can go from 0 to hero in this business. And I saw people making all these numbers, and then I did it. And I literally was crying on the phone with Chris because I was so excited that I finally, met that, one step. And then, so coming into this, I knew that even if my first week wasn't great, that I knew that I could get it down, and I did. And my first week on the phones, I didn't close anybody on the first call, but they were great phone calls. And then people came back, and my guy with the $273 a month premium for disability was just a phone call, and he called me back, and, I signed him up. But so, even if you're not closing right away, just keep it up, because, eventually they'll start calling back, and eventually start writing them. It's just like you said, John Paul, I just love all your words of, inspiration and motivation, because that's exactly what it takes. It's just, just don't give up. Just keep on. Just be determined.
Absolutely. I'm sorry. Go ahead. You there, Stella?
Yeah. Oh, I said I'm done. Thanks. I just wanted to share that with your people, all of them here on the screen, because
and I appreciate you voting for me, Stella. I appreciate that. I don't know, Chris.
Well, you know what? I didn't vote for you. I'm sorry.
Good for you. So, and that's great, because Stella, you've had such a great story, and where you started off early on and struggling with, like so many people that are new on this call now, and trying to learn this business, and just your tenacity and your drive and intentionality with mastering your craft has put you in a position now where you're a consistent, solid producer. I mean, you wrote $20,246 again this last month, and that's nothing to sneeze at. I mean, that's rock solid performance, and that's coming from a lady who months ago was struggling to even set an appointment or make a sale, and so and that's no slight on Stella. That's a compliment to her, of how somebody who struggled with something early on and wasn't comfortable, and somebody who was challenged with something, who attacked it and mastered that skill set, and then she's killing the game now. I gotta look over. What's that?
So one last thing on that, because I'm speaking to anybody here that feels frustrated about not making your goals, because I'm really huge on goals, and Terry and anyone else that knows me well, I have like 500 posters all over my wall, and one of them is to write $40,000 a month. And most of it's on me. I know this, and it's just because of just balancing certain things. But beyond that, that's my goal. And yeah, I get frustrated every single month I haven't made it. So if you have your own goals out there and you haven't made it, don't get frustrated. Just go back to it. And just, you're going to get closer and closer, because I will make my goal. And I'll probably make it this month in April, because that's who I am.
Love it. Absolutely. But that's good stuff. Now, Jeremiah, do you have anything else that you wanted to add, buddy?
No, sir. Thank you.
Chris, were they able to get the weekly leaderboards at all?
Yeah, in fact, I've been sitting here while I've been listening to the call, just with the side screen on, hitting refresh. It's spinning. So Opta's officially broken this morning.
No worries. So we'll get those out, and everybody knows. I mean, you still have today to write business and get it submitted for this week anyway. Usually on the call this morning, we cover what's done through last night. And then, I know there are people who have appointments today. I have 2 this afternoon that I've scheduled as well. So we'll just get those up on Monday. We'll get those on the GroupMe for the week's production that will include to anything that's submitted for today anyway. So it'll be trued up, so to speak. And so really focusing on the whole point of the conversation today was really mindset, right? And your focus and how you can attack this thing and really make this something much, much larger and much more productive than I think any of us even originally thought with Symmetry. And as incredible as the opportunity is here anyway, this just opens up a whole nother realm, and it really expands the potential with what we have. So I'll leave that with the end of the call, but I will say one other thing is that I know everyone's kind of getting cooped up and things like that, and shelter in place and all that such that's going on. But do take time to get outside of your house, even if it's in your yard or around. Get some, in Atlanta, it's a beautiful day today, sunshine, things like that, and just have some fun. I will share, just because there's so much doom and gloom that's going on, I'll share with you a little bit of something of what we've done, what we did yesterday specifically. And those of you who know me know my kids are all adults. My kids are 24, 25, and 31. And my younger son, who's 25, is the one that was peeking his head in my door earlier. We like to prank each other and joke around and get each other and do silly stuff constantly. Yesterday, my wife and my daughter, they had made a run to the store and Walmart's, and happened to buy 500 water balloons. Those ones where you screw it onto the hose and it blows up like 50 at a 20 at a time. They're different colors. And we got these big plastic totes and stuff. It was a warm day. It was probably, around upper 70s, maybe 80 degrees here yesterday, sun shining, and blew up all the water balloons. And we just had, a 3-on-3 boys against girls water balloon fight in the street for about 30, 40 minutes yesterday. And we were soaked. We just took time out to do something silly and crazy, and just have some fun. And ironically, my son, I could see him over my shoulder when he was peeking his head in the door earlier at the beginning of the call. He had one of these little, because my wife and my daughter, they cheated, right? So we had water balloons. Originally, we were throwing each other, but they also had side buckets hidden behind the bushes that had these little pump things, like you fill up for the water and squirt them. So once we were completely out of balloons, they went and grabbed them out of the mailbox and behind the bushes. They had them stashed and filled them up and came and chased us down and soaked us with the hose and these little squirt pump things. And so I think, we're all trying to still get each other. And he looked in the door and had that little foam pump thing. So I don't know if he had water in it or he was just teasing me or not. But anyway, just something silly to have fun. Enjoy being with your family. We all get we all have such fast-paced lives and everything that goes on. And our spouses and stuff, we're sometimes our kids are in school or college and off, in their own places, their apartments and their houses and stuff. That I think one thing that is a positive out of this, from my perspective, is that it's really given us an opportunity in the last few weeks to kind of slow down a little bit and be together. Eat dinner together, cook dinner together as a family, take turns, and everybody in the kitchen laughing, playing music, drinking a little bit for those of us that are of age, and our kids are of age. But the point is just having fun, enjoy yourself as best you can, and keep your sanity, right? And spend time with your family and stuff. It was a blast yesterday. I just shut everything down, left my cell phone in here, and logged off my computer, and we went outside and just had a water balloon fight, and it was just cool, right?
Paul.
Yeah.
If you don't mind, let me share. We did yesterday. We did our family same thing. I just shut it all off. I got on the call for the builders and everything else. Shut it off. We went and did a quarantine family adventure day. So we went to the state park here and just got out in the sun and near the lake.
I love it.
Just had fun, just connected, went out in the woods, I don't have the, that's a little video, but don't have the bike. We went and rode bikes and, just connected. And that's what I've been, the reality is this, guys, is I believe the Lord is brought this on for a reason, because we need to slow down and connect with our families and kids, right, and things of that nature. So we just had a great time. We took this picture here. I mean, this beautiful. This was the Trail of Tears in Gunnersville, Alabama. And we just walked and just explored and just just had fun and laughed and had a little picnic and all that. So
nice.
It's important to do that, because we do have that ability, with our work and stuff. So we went and rode bikes. There was a little too many people for our liking, so we were like trying to avoid people when we're walking on the walking trails and stuff. But anyway, yeah. So it's important to do that. Work hard, play hard.
Yeah, no, that's great. I appreciate you sharing. Those are great pictures. And yeah, so I encourage you with your family and where you're at to do something like that yourselves. Be safe, of course, but hopefully you're having an opportunity to spend time with your family and do things that you haven't done in a long time. And again, because my kids are all adults, I mean, they're all off in the world doing their things, and to have two of my kids, here, and my son's girlfriend and my daughter's boyfriend was here with us for about 2 weeks when they came back from St. Thomas from UBI, and then he of course left and went back to Dallas to his family. So just to have everybody here and spend that time together and such like that is a great opportunity that we don't all have, we don't all get a chance to do, so for good or bad with everything that's going on, there are some positives. Again, perspective. If you see things that you can find the good in any situation or the positive aspects in it, it can still be meaningful in our lives. So I appreciate everyone. Let's go get them. Listen, people out there need our help. And as I mentioned before, Forbes magazine 2 weeks ago reported that there is a 50% increase in people panic buying life insurance right now. These people are looking for life insurance. You got to be the one to make contact with them and help find the best solution for their family, okay? So let's get out there. Let's attack the day. Let's be successful and go help families. And keep that in your spirit and in your heart. And if you stay focused on that, you'll always be right in what you do.
John Paul, let me pop in one thing real quick, and you just reminded me of something, and this is very important when we're talking about, you talk about people panic buying life insurance. Guys, the carriers are very quickly making adjustments to this coronavirus, and so this is now several of our carriers have put that in as a question. So a couple things there. Number one, we need to get to people as quickly as possible, because we don't know when they're going to come in contact with somebody who's had the virus. Number two, they need to be making a decision. There's no more time to think about it, because you don't know when you're going to bump into somebody that's had the virus. And
right.
If you do bump into somebody that's had the virus, you don't qualify for insurance now for at least minimum 30 days, up to 90 days, depending on the carrier. So this is the time where we really got to be very highly intentional. Also be looking at your carriers and see who has made that change. Not all of them have. So if you got a situation where you know somebody that's maybe come in close contact with somebody, be looking very closely at who hasn't made that adjustment yet? But that's got to happen probably in reality in the next 2 or 3 days, because they're all very quickly making that adjustment. So you want to make sure that, number one, pay attention to that question. Those are going to be popping up. Number two, make sure you're educating your clients. Hey, this is not something you have time just to sit around and think around with like you did in the past. If you want to get something done, you better get it done today, and let's get this in process.
Absolutely. Great points. I know America already did that. I saw the email yesterday from United Home Life, adding that to their personal history interviews. And you can assure that other companies are going to follow suit. If not today, by Monday, they'll probably be implementing and adding those things to the underwriting question. So listen, go help families, make a difference in folks' lives, and get out there and show the world and your clients who we are and what we do, and make a difference for somebody and make an impact. Good luck and good selling. We appreciate everybody. Thank you.